All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank you all for attending tonight's Winter Sports Awards tonight. I'm honored to be able to begin this evening by recognizing our... Is this not on? Okay. I'm honored to be able to begin this evening by recognizing our scholar athletes. I take pride in recognizing the student athlete for academic achievements for something off the field of play. As you all know here tonight, there are great demands placed on our student athletes both during competition and during the school day. It is my pleasure to recognize this year's Winter Scholar athletes who have not only met high requirements set by their coaches, but also have excelled in the classroom. The scholar athletes, we're going to go through each one of the sports tonight, and what I'd like for you athletes, please stand and be recognized. Please hold the applause until everyone is standing. We'll start with wrestling, and this year's Winter Scholar athletes for wrestling are Randall Brack, all A's, Ben Horban, all A's, Seth Moon, all A's, Adam Basham, Tyler Downhour, Jay Heckathorn, Austin Hoover, John Hunting, Braxton Lee, Connor McLaughlin, Aaron Orr, Garrett Shane, Justin Schroeder, Otto Scherbandi, Micah Whitfield, Deshaun Whitfield, and Amanda Reisner as manager. For girls swimming, Anna Barris, all A's, Sarah Birch, Tracy Birch, both all A's, Charlene Frank, all A's, Katie Newton, all A's, Sammy Rupert, all A's, Katie Schaller, all A's, Allison Webb, all A's, Erica Abbott, Quinn Bixler, Erica Inyert, Aaron Johnson, Karsten Lingenfelter, Callie Richard, Allie Seiler, and Morgan Tyler. For boys swimming, Wesley Meyer, all A's, Stephen Newton, all A's, Jonathan Foon, all A's, Tanner Powell, all A's, Eli Pugh, all A's, Jace Bixler, Cameron Bugno, Brad Birch, Caleb Cavelli, Derek Grayler, Chris Hoffman, Patrick Kays, Nick Noose, Zach Shue, Logan Youngstrom. For the girls basketball team, Winter Scholar athletes this year, Riley Holland, all A's, Keaton Stasiak, all A's, Becky Malco, all A's, Brianne Pollock, all A's, Alexa Holland, all A's, Lindsay Mitchell, all A's, Riley Pfeiffer, all A's, Lexanne Holland, all A's, Saray Carpenter, all A's, Kaylee Smith, Griffin Goss, Bailey Abbott, Rayanne Hunter, Carly Murphy, Kendall Davis, Alexis Agnew, Shaylee Kelly, and Emily Sager, the manager. For the boys basketball team, Jacob Howdeshell, all A's. Cyrus Holland, all A's. Alec Garrick, all A's. Zach Du Bois, all A's. Noah Roberts, all A's. Wilson Lee, all A's. Aubrey Franklin, as a manager, all A's. Alec Holland, Dominic Thomas, Carter Screeton, Matt Basham, John Odell, Luke Kennedy, Seth Korn, Brett Abbott, Noah Dahlquist, Gavin Bennett, Johnny McCarty, AJ Knotts, Brendan Fansler, Sam Adams, and Tim Heiss, manager. For our cheerleaders, Shelby Bankson, Mallory Benzing, Erica Enyart, Elena Franklin, Brenna Gibson, Emily Shepard, Shaylee Kelly, Alexis Agnew, Carol Morris, Yadira Orduno, Nicole Ranstead, and Brittany Walker. And we have a cheerlifter this year who also received the Winter Scholar Athlete Award, and that's Austin Calvert. Excuse me. The next academic honor that I really enjoy presenting is the all-conference presentations, and we would like to recognize the Academic All-TRC Award winners. The Academic All-Conference team was a pilot program began by the conference athletic directors in 2002. Starting this fall, the program has been modified to honor athletes in any IHSAA sport that meet the following criteria. He or she is a junior or senior, has a minimum of a 3.4 GPA on a 4-point scale, and a class rank in the top 30% for an honorable mention certificate, has a minimum of a GPA of 3.8 and a class rank in the top 15% for a first team All-American, or I'm sorry, All-TRC academic medallion. This winter's academic all-conference honorable mention winners are, and we'll start with the honorable mention certificates with wrestling, Braxton Lee. Come on up. Congratulations. For girls swimming, we have two winners, Quinn Bixler and Allison Seiler. For boys swimming, Patrick Kays. For girls basketball, we have two winners, Riley Holland and Kaylee Smith. Congratulations. Great job. And for boys basketball, we have three winners, Matt Basham, Luke Kennedy, and Seth Korn. Congratulations. And this winter's academic all-conference first team medallion recipients for wrestling, Tyler Downhauer and Ben Horban. For girls swimming and diving, we have 4 winners: Erica Abbott, Anna Barris, Caitlin Newton, and Allie Webb. For boys swimming and diving, Brad Birch. For our girls basketball program, we have 3 recipients: Lindsay Mitchell, Carly Murphy, and Brianne Pollock. Good job. Congratulations. Nice work. Congratulations. Good job. Proud of you. What's the matter? For boys basketball, we have 3 recipients as well: Alec Garrick, Cyrus Holland, and Carter Screeton. Good job. That's a tie. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations, athletes. You truly represent Rochester very well. I just want to take a moment and thank the parents for the support that you give your children, your athletes, during the season, and for also the support that you give them in their academic endeavors. And I hope you guys enjoy your evening.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight and have the opportunity to publicly recognize our athletes for their contributions to their teams, to their school, and to our community. Prior to announcing the selections for the individual awards, I would like to point out a few team accomplishments and recognize some milestones set by RHS athletes this winter. First, I'd like to recognize the wrestlers, who were the winners of the 3-conference championship. You can see the banner here, generously donated by R&R Visual. We were able to win that championship because we had 4 individual conference champions. Those champions included Josh Heckathorn at 106 pounds, Jay Heckathorn at 138 pounds, Tyler Downhour at 152 pounds, and Braxton Lee at 160. But in addition to that, we also had conference runners-up, John Hunting at 126 and Jordan Schaefer at 195. All in all, the boys did very well in our conference. Brothers Josh and Jay Heckathorn also went on in the postseason to qualify for semi-state. Additionally, we had 3 wrestlers earn a special distinction from the Indiana High School Wrestling Coaches Association. I'd like to congratulate Tyler Downhour and Ben Horban for being named to the Junior All-State team by the organization, and Braxton Lee for earning honorable mention. I can see Braxton's very excited about that award. Swimming and diving was a very special season as well. For the 2nd season in a row, Quinn Bixler was sectional champion, and she would go on to qualify for the state finals for the 2nd straight year. Additionally, Quinn will graduate owning both school diving records. She broke the 6-dive record at a meet this year against Manchester on December 6th. She followed that up at sectionals by breaking her own 11-dive record with a score of 428.55. Her score was good enough to beat her next nearest competitor by 135 points. Quinn, however, was not the only member of the swimming and diving program to notch a place in the record books this year. Her counterpoint, senior diver Cameron Bugno, broke the 11-dive record with a score of 360.5. The previous record was also owned by Bugno and was set at the RHS Invite this December 29th, which both our boys and girls teams won. Also, sophomore swimmer Stephen Newton established a new record this year in the 100 backstroke, clocking a 54.77. Earlier in the year, he swam 56.77 to better Tom Brash's previous mark, a 56.86 set more than a decade ago. Junior Patrick Kays broke a 200 free record, swimming 151.81, bettering his own mark of 153.88. That time was established in a December meet and surpassed a previous record of 1 minute 54 seconds set by Dan Simpson. Simpson's mark stood for 30 years before Patrick broke it. The final record was set by 200-yard freestyle relay team of Stephen Newton, Jace Bixler, Sawyer Kripe, and Patrick Kays. They swam a 134.71, besting the previous record of 135.10 set in 1998. All of these records, by the way, came at the right time. The team peaked at sectionals and broke all those records on sectional weekend. In basketball, I want to recognize 4 of our basketball players for earning first-team all-conference honors. Those athletes were John Odell, Luke Kennedy, B. Pollock, and Riley Holland. Breanne Pollock had the additional distinction of being selected as a member of the Indiana Basketball Coaches Association Subway Underclass All-State Honorable Mention Team. And one final note that I'm very proud of in regard to the girls' basketball team. They become only the second team that the athletic department is aware of, that meaning Mrs. Cash. They had the entire team be scholar athletes in one season. Very impressive. This time I'd like to start with individual awards. Our individual awards that we'll recognize in the auditorium tonight are team captains, most promising athlete, most improved athlete, mental attitude award winner, and most valuable athlete. And the order of presentation will be wrestling, followed by girls swimming and diving, boys swimming and diving, girls basketball, boys basketball, and cheerleading and cheerlifting. The first award to give out tonight is team captains. Leadership is often the intangible that is missing on those teams that never seem to fulfill their potential. At the same time, it is very evident on those teams that rise to championship levels. Team captains must serve as leaders, as recruiters, as assistant coaches with the younger players, and as positive role models for all team members.
To go from last year, is this on? As a 5-19 team to a turnaround of 17-7 this year can be attributed to our 3 team captains. Part of it, just them leading, getting guys in the weight room in the off season, on the wrestling mat, and just kind of showing the way of what we need to do to improve, stepping up and becoming great leaders this year. Luckily enough, we have them again next year. So we're looking for even bigger and better things from these 3. Tyler Downhour, Ben Horban, and honorable mention again is Braxton Lee.
As you can tell from what Ryan said about our season, we had a phenomenal season. Each team's only lost 2 meets this season. The boys finished 3rd at sectionals and the girls finished 5th. We walked away with 7 new records broken, and this is our 3rd season in a row of having a winning season. So that's very exciting. Our captains have been a big part of that. A few of them have been on the team for 4 years, many of them 2 or 3 years, but they've played a big part in the improvement and success of our team over the last 4 years. Girls captains are Quinn Bixler, Allison Webb, and Anna Bars. Boys captains are Matt Zion, Nick Noost, Chris Hoffman, and Patrick Case.
Anyone who knows our two seniors pretty much know their personality is very different, and each do things their own way, but were very instrumental. A team that had to replace 4 seniors from last year, a lot of youth, a team that was 5-7 at one point, went 9-2 down the stretch. Excellent leadership from Riley Holland and Rayanne Hunter.
Sorry, I've got to move this up a little bit. I don't have the records of the tradition yet. Our program being first year head coach coming into this year, but our seniors this year, Seth Bourne, John Odell, our captains. These two guys, 3 coaches in 4 years, a lot to deal with, but they came in and did a great job for us as far as leadership this summer, setting the bar high and really started the program off in the right direction. Not frozen yet. Oh. Congratulations, Coach.
The cheerleaders this year, we had a very young squad. In fact, we didn't have any seniors, but I had one junior that really stepped up, and I could always count on her to take charge and just make sure everything got done, and so that is Cynthia Hernandez. And we had something a little different this year. We incorporated some cheerlifters, and that was a lot of fun, a little bit of challenge sometimes. But it was interesting to incorporate the girls and the guys together. And we had one guy who definitely stepped up and took charge of that, and that is Austin Calvert.
Our next award is Most Promising Athlete. It's important that coaches continue to work hard to recruit the best possible athletes for their sports. It's especially gratifying when a coach gets a young man or young lady in their freshman or sophomore year that shows talent, the potential and determination and the positive attitude to be a real champion in their high school career. Hopefully, the awards earned tonight as Most Promising will serve to encourage these athletes on to bigger and better seasons in their RHS athletic careers.
Our most promising this year, we actually were able to finally narrow it down to 2. We're such a young team. We have no seniors that it's very hard to just narrow it down with a lot of these awards to one student athlete. We have a lot of young athletes that have have big promising futures. So we finally were able to narrow it down after the team took a vote and coaches took a vote, and we talked it over for a while. And our 2 most promisings are Seth Moon and Connor McLaughlin.
We had 2 girls that we're giving the Most Promising Award to this season. They are both freshmen. The first one was mainly a diver. She spent some time at the swimming end of the pool also. She would work all of practice on her dives with Carmen and then come down to the swimming end of the pool and ask me to help her with some of her swimming skills after practice was over. She placed 4th at the Wabasee Invitational, 5th at the RHS Invite, and 5th at sectionals, which was 1 spot away from qualifying for regionals. Morgan Tyler. Our other girl is a swimmer. She practiced with all of the older girls for most of the season, and she did a nice job of holding her own with them. She worked hard. Every time she jumped into the pool, she was ready and willing to fill any spot in the lineup when we needed her. She finished 17th and 19th at sectionals, and she shows a ton of potential for the next 3 years. Katie Schaller. Our most promising boy, sorry, is also a freshman. He finished 9th place in the 100 free at sectionals and 9th place in the 50 free at sectionals. He was part of the medley relay team that placed 2nd at sectionals and the 200 freestyle relay team that placed 3rd and also broke our school record. So as a freshman, he made it back into 4 events for Saturday finals, which is awesome. Jay Spixler.
Never before have I had 3 freshmen on varsity. As kind of phased them into things, and they significantly altered our pace of play, our competitiveness, and as they hit their stride about mid-season, so did our team. And looking forward, a lot of promise, and obviously having 3 more years of them around. Each of them were in big spots and big moments, and certainly did not play like freshmen. And looking forward to 3 more years with them. Alexa Holland, Becky Malko, and Keaton Stasiak.
Most promising for boys basketball. This young man, as we came into the season, we didn't really have guards at any level. So we took a look at a couple of younger guys and brought this guy up. Struggled to start the year off for us. Finding his rhythm, moving up from the level he was at to the level he's at now was a big step. Struggled until about Christmas time, and then finally got things going from that point on. But finished with 131 points. His first time on varsity, 36% from the arc, and then he was really kind of the guy that anchored us down at the guard position as we made our stretch run down here towards sectional play, and that's Alec Holland. You still haven't grown any yet.
Oh, I know. Not grown anymore yet.
Like I said, we had a very young squad, and in fact, our entire JV squad was, we're freshmen. We had one girl that just really stepped up, and she was probably one of our best flyers. She was very athletic, one of our better tumblers, actually. Looking forward to some big things from her, and that's Alexis Agnew, not Holland. She wasn't on the cheerleading squad. Oh, you're as good as I am. What does that mean?
Our next award category is Most Improved Athlete. One of the goals of every sports program is to continue to strive for improvement. Whether that means fewer putts per round, more yards per carry, or even a better attitude and approach to the sport, improvement is often the key to many of the successes of our athletic programs.
Once again, we were coaches. After the student athletes voted, coaches went back and forth a little bit. With a big freshman class like we had this year, and then a big sophomore class, it's easy to kind of look at it from both ways. From a coaching perspective, we like to look at it from how the athletes improve from year to year, but also during the season. This year, we just felt like we had two athletes who, as we compared their freshman seasons to their sophomore seasons, just improved tremendously. Wins, losses, all kinds of different statistics. But mainly just their toughness and what they were able to do on a daily basis to push themselves and get better. And that's Justin Schroeder and Jordan Schaefer.
Our most improved girl this season is a junior. She dropped over 30 seconds total in time from the beginning of the season to the end. She made it to sectional finals for the first time in her swimming career. She also earned a spot on the sectional relay that earned 10th place. Erin Johnson. Our most improved boy is a freshman. This was his first time ever to swim competitively. We essentially had to teach him how to do everything from the beginning. He dropped over a minute in time total from the beginning to the end of the season, and he also made it back to sectional finals in the 100 backstroke, which is a big deal for a freshman. Caleb Cavelli.
Kind of like our team, our most improved winner went sort of like a question mark at the start of the year to kind of playing with an exclamation point by the end of the year. And as she improved, our team did as well. So much so that in the sectional, other teams played a box and one on her. Ended up being our third leading scorer, and I think is just starting to sort of scratch the surface of how good she can be. Looking forward to her improvement even next year. Carly Murphy.
Most improved through the year. We had a lot of question marks coming into the year where we're going to go as far as personnel and who we wanted to start and how we were going to get everything to mesh together. And as the year went along, we found two guys that really just started to kind of come to the top as far as improvement in bringing different things. These two individuals averaged, by the end of the year, 52% and 47% from the floor. One was our leading free throw percentage from the line, and the other individual was our leading rebounder. So it was kind of a tough choice to single one of them out, so we decided to give it to both of them because we couldn't really do what we did down the stretch if we didn't have these two guys coming in and do what they did. So our most improved for the year is Alec Garrick and Luke Kennedy. I'm going to get your award and give it to Mark from Mr. Okay.
This young lady, she started out fairly shy and stood back a little bit, and by mid-season she was jumping in whenever we asked her to do anything, and actually she even started doing some flying and was just always willing to step up, and that is Nicole Ranstead.
The next award category we have is mental attitude. The coach's favorite person may be a unique way to describe this award, but in many ways this is true. The question that needs to be asked is, why is this player the coach's favorite? The answer will be that he or she is always a leader in off-season conditioning and weights workouts, always listens and tries to do what is right, always hustles during all practices as well as contests, always tries to provide leadership and be a positive example for the underclassmen in the program. Talent and potential are not qualities for the Mental Attitude Award winner. A never say die attitude coupled with a positive outlook on life are the qualities of the Mental Attitude Award winner.
This one was pretty easy for us. This young man this year started, well, when I first met him, I'll give you a little background. First met him last year as an 8th grader. He weighed about 220, something like that. And as I got to know him and you know, developed a relationship with him, and he just kind of every day you could see him buying in a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Pretty soon he'd text me every day, "Hey coach, I got an extra hour workout in. Hey coach, you know, this is what I had for supper tonight. Hey coach, I got 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats in tonight." So pretty soon I finally blocked him so he couldn't text me anymore and tell me what he was doing. But basically you're looking at in a year's time. And if any of you guys ever want to get on this diet program, you have to talk to him about it. But in a year's time, he went from 220 pounds to, I think he finally broke 145 this year. And he's a kid who's just kind of bought in. And, you know, eventually, you know, we'll be talking about this young man as an MVP, as a you know, a state qualifier, breaking a lot of records. And that's Otto Sherbandi.
For girls, our Mental Attitude winner this year is a sophomore. She started swimming for the first time last year. She has improved so much since she started swimming last year. She started out last year as a lane 6 swimmer and made it all the way to lane 2 this season. Last year, I would have considered her to be a runner who decided to swim to stay in shape, and this year, I think she truly turned into a swimmer. She has worked hard in the pool since the first practice she ever came to. I never once heard her complain about anything that we asked her to do. Sarah Birch. For the boys team, our Mental Attitude winner for this year was also a brand new swimmer last year. He's a senior. He worked very hard last season and this season. He was also someone that we never heard complain, and he did anything that we asked him to do. He was a leader in many ways. He always stepped up to help to lead dryland workouts and was willing to help younger swimmers anytime that we asked. He's a great example of where hard work and dedication will get you. Nick Noost.
I'd like to publicly thank my team for outstanding attitudes this year, and extremely difficult as I begin to think about this award of who to give it to. But the more I thought about it, the more I felt stronger that I need to recognize one person. Our Mental Attitude Award winner never put on a uniform, but she washed them after every game. She never scored a point, but for 4 years she recorded every point that was scored in our program. Could not ask for a better attitude or a better person for 4 years. Our Mental Attitude recipient is our manager, Emily Sager.
Boys basketball mental attitude. This young man, as we started the year off, we did not have a guard. We were questioning where that was going to be at. He took on the challenge, actually embraced the challenge of becoming our point guard throughout the year. Whatever we asked this guy to do, he did it. No matter how big or small we asked him to guard, no matter where he was at on the floor, what did we want him to do, this young man did that. Didn't complain openly to me. in practice. You could tell at times he wasn't happy about, some of his roles and responsibilities, but he wanted to be on the floor. And our mental attitude for this year is Carter Screeton. Congratulations.
This award was very difficult because I could have given it to any of the girls on the squad this year. They all had a great attitude, very willing to do anything and step up and try anything new. But one girl always did this without complaining invariably, and that's Shelby Bankston.
Our next award is our next award is the Most Valuable Athlete Award. The person who means the most to the team is a good description for the most valuable athlete. The most valuable athlete is not necessarily the most talented, but is the player that contributes the most to the program. The most valuable athlete must provide leadership and also exhibit outstanding skill in the sport. I believe one way to determine the most valuable athlete is simply to ask the question, where would this team have been without this person?
We have 2 MVPs this year. One of the things as a coach, I try to ask myself the question, as Mr. Helt said, where would our team be without these guys? Or as they go, our team goes. And what I mean by that is, when they're ready to practice, the rest of the team kind of takes their cue. If they're not practicing hard, then our team usually isn't where it needs to be. If they're working hard, practicing hard, ready to wrestle, ready to perform, then our team is usually ready to wrestle and ready to perform. At times they didn't necessarily like that kind of pressure, but when you're 2 of the better wrestlers that are probably ever going to come through our program, that kind of pressure just kind of comes down on you, and you have to learn to deal with that a little bit. And as they grow a little older and they mature, match to match, season to season, I can see them taking a little bit more of that role and embracing it a little bit. And that's Josh Heckathorn and Jay Heckathorn.
For the girls' team, our most valuable this season is a diver. She broke 2 school records, which were her own records from last year. She finished 1st at the Wawasee Invite, 3rd at the Western Diving Invite, 1st at the RHS Invite, 1st at sectionals, 5th at diving regionals, which qualified her for state. This was her 2nd season qualifying for state. Quinn Bixler. For the boys' team, we had a tough time deciding MVP because we have 3 boys who each now hold 2 records, and so we're giving it to all 3 of them. Cameron is a diver. He holds the school record for the 6 and 11 dives. He finished 5th at the Western Diving Invite, 1st at the RHS Invite, 2nd at sectionals, which qualified him for diving regionals. Next is a swimmer. He holds the school record for the 200 freestyle. Patrick, obviously, and was part of the 200 freestyle relay that broke the school record at sectionals. He finished 3rd in the 100 fly and 3rd in the 200 freestyle at sectionals. He swam in the medley relay, which finished 2nd place, and 200 freestyle that finished 3rd. And our last MVP winner is Steven. He holds the school record in the 100 backstroke and was part of the 200 freestyle relay that broke the school record at sectionals. He finished 2nd in the 100 back, 2nd in the 100 free, and he was also on the medley relay that finished 2nd and the 200 relay that finished 3rd and broke the record. So Cameron, Patrick, and Steven.
Probably our least suspenseful award. B. Pollock led us in scoring, led the conference in rebounding, led the conference in field goal percentage, scored double figures in all but 2 of our games for the entire year. Was probably not just the number 1 part of our opponent's scouting report, but probably numbers 1, 2, and 3 for most of the year, especially as this team kind of got its feet underneath itself. And just one of the hardest workers and one of the best attitudes I've ever coached, and looking forward to one more year with her and see what she can do for an encore next year. MVP, B. Pollock.
This year's MVP is a 2-time first team TRC member, leading scorer for the last 2 years at the varsity level, 4-year varsity member, team captain, was in the top 5 in 4 categories in the TRC conference. A lot of nights he took a lot of grief from us just to get us to where we wanted to go. But as he went along, he was definitely our leader on the floor, and we missed him if we didn't have him, and that's John Odell. Congratulations, John.
This girl was the girl on the squad that I could always count on to step up and take control when I needed her to. She made sure everyone was in the right formation, made sure we were always where we needed to be, and that is our team captain, Cynthia Hernandez.
If you would have told me 3 to 5 years ago I'd be involved in cheer again, I would have said no. Yes, there is a stigma with guy lifters. So this year, getting people to come out for the team for the first time in a long time that the high schools had them was a 2-month campaign. No, I did not bribe them. Maybe threaten them a little bit. But I truly appreciate this guy's talent, and hopefully I'll have him back next year. And that person is Austin Calvert.
We got my beard tight.
We didn't put a little
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our athletes for the countless hours of effort they put into bettering their work ethic, their leadership, and their mental toughness through athletics. I thank our coaches, namely Stephanie Brown, Carmen Reeves, Jared Tyler, Lisa Andrews, Katie Moore, Scott Sechrist, Clint Gard, Derek Holloway, J.D. Howard, Austin Sossaman, Tony Stasiak, Randy Wynn, Bethany Sewell, Rob Malco, Rex Reinholt, Sean Kelly, Joe McCarter, Adam Packer, Luke Smith, and Scott Harrell for all their efforts in advancing these characteristics in the students with whom they work. I also thank the families of those athletes for the many modifications they have to make in their lives in order to support their sons and daughters. I thank the families of the coaches who, like the families of the athletes, sacrifice a great deal in order to allow our coaches to do their jobs. I really thank the many volunteers from our community who help us conduct our athletic events. Special thanks to Christina Hughes, who works diligently to ensure the well-being of our athletes. Big special thanks to Sue Cash. I thank our local media, WROI, The Sentinel, Rochester Telephone Company, Channel 4, for their fantastic coverage and support. I thank Valerie Hoover and Lucas Shanehalls and the cheerleaders for their wonderful support and for taking on the task of reinstituting cheerlifters as part of our squad, a tradition that has roots all the way back in the 1920s at RHS. Also, special thanks. Special thanks to Chris Holm. Love you, Chris. Also, special thanks to the Rochester Boosters Club for providing invaluable funding for our programs. Honestly, without this organization, Rochester Athletics would struggle financially. You can find information about becoming a member of the Boosters Club in tonight's program. It's a great way to help ensure a quality athletic experience for your kids. Also inserted in tonight's program, you'll find a more extensive list of thank yous. My apologies to those of you I've inadvertently left off the list. Not like Chris Holm or anybody like that. One of the challenges, honestly, is we have so many people who help, so many people who provide invaluable services to us that it's really hard to compile a list at the end of the season, and I really apologize for anybody I left out. I'm appreciative to the help in so many ways. We're blessed to have so many dedicated parents, supporters, and staff members willing to make contributions for the betterment of our students. Finally, inserted in your program, there's an evaluation for parents to provide feedback to help us enhance the athletic experiences for your athletes. Those can be returned to the athletic office throughout the remainder of the week or immediately following spring break. I also left some boxes outside on the table if you haven't done already. Athletes, thanks again for your dedication and hard work. Remember, it's the journey. It's not where you are, it's where you're going. Remember, if you didn't reach your goals this year, there are always new goals to be set and met, both in athletics and in life. Set your goals high and never be afraid to fail. Also, a reminder to all athletes, if there were any mistakes in your awards, any omissions, any trophies or certificates you should have received but didn't, my apologies. Please see me in my office tomorrow. I'll be glad to order them. We can get them in a day or so. Once again, let me know and we'll reorder anything. Reminder for those of you who were award winners tonight in the auditorium, pictures immediately to follow at Zebby. And at this time, we will split the teams into the following locations for additional awards, letters, and comments for their specific sports. Wrestling will be in the library, boys basketball in the auditorium, girls basketball in the cafeteria, swimming will be in the main gym, and cheerleading and cheerlifting in the auxiliary gym. Thanks again. I really appreciate it. Thank you.